All right. Here we go. Back again on the other side of the coin. Look who we have. Look at the kind of guests, the caliber of guests that we've got lined up here for the Fulham versus Chelsea match preview. You know, this is turning out to be a big match for both of us. So, I think it's only rightful that we get this caliber of guests here. First of all, I want to introduce you guys to Jack from Fulhamish. He's one of the presenters there for Fulhamish YouTube channel and the Fulhamish podcast. First of all, Jack, my man, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad. Bit nervous for the upcoming match. You guys have been in a bit of a combative sort of form, so I'm a bit nervous about that. But nonetheless, I know we're going to get into all of that. Younes, my man, 3 in a row. Here we go. Trilogy,
special trilogy. Thanks for having me on again.
Brilliant. Mattise, my man. You know, we had Younes on Wednesday, Mattise at your channel Thursday, Friday night special. Here we go. I mean, night for me, morning for you guys. But yeah, man, how you doing?
I'm all good, man. I'm looking forward to this. I mean, tomorrow's the big day. Do you know what I mean? It's what dreams are made of, the local derby.
Let's see, West London derby, man. It's pretty big. Guys, let's get straight into it, yeah? There's quite a bit to talk about, and there's quite a bit we want to learn as well from Fulham, just so that we know what we're getting ourselves into in this particular matchup. First of all, I'll go to Jack. Jack, we were sort of saying just before we went live that Fulham's gone through a bit of a transformation from where they started in the beginning of the season to where they are right now. I've got some stats here. First 13 matches of the season, they conceded 22 goals. You guys conceded 22 goals. You conceded 3 against Everton, 3 against Aston Villa, 4 against Leeds, 3 against Arsenal. But then 7 matches after that, after the first 13, you've only conceded 5, and out of 5, it was 2 against Manchester City. So what has happened here? Something drastic has happened. Do you mind explaining to us?
I'm still kind of getting used to it. I think I remember when we played West Ham before the international break, the last international break, we lost 1-0 in the last minute. We missed that horrendous penalty I don't want to talk about, but it was sort of like from there we could see that there was some sort of shape and identity to the team. We were defensively pretty sound, and albeit a last-minute mistake, had let West Ham in, and they won the game. And then after that, we saw the Everton game where we conceded after 45 seconds, and I was thinking, yeah, this isn't great. But then since then, when we lost 3-2 to Everton, we've just transformed into this quite decent outfit, who I think is not one of the weakest 3 in the Premier League at the moment. Went to Leicester, got a great win, 2-1 away. Didn't really see that coming at all, but fantastic performance. Hosted Liverpool, got a fantastic point against Liverpool. Maybe could have won the game, probably should have won the game. Man City, we lost 2-0, but we didn't embarrass ourselves. I just think that we've massively improved in the defensive department. My only worry is the goals haven't been flowing in as much as you'd like, but we're seeing incredible signs of improvement, because the first 3 games of the season, I think people were writing us off, 0 points on the board. Carragher said he'd never been so sure that Fulham would go down, and Scott Parker's got this team into a mindset that we can beat the drop, and I genuinely feel like we will. Yeah,
no, fair, absolutely fair points. How much of it do you reckon is the change of formation? Because I think, as I remember that first game against Arsenal where it was 3-0, it was more of a 4-4-2 or 4-5-1 sort of formation. That's sort of now changed into the 5-3-2, which is the general sort of formation for the past sort of month and a bit. How much has that sort of helped our defensive structure as well?
Well, I just think, first of all, going into the Arsenal game, we were severely underprepared. We didn't have the centre-backs, 2 centre-backs we definitely needed. And we were playing players who we played in the last time in the Premier League. And it went so badly wrong that year. And it was naive to feel like it would go anywhere better, anything better than last time. And no, it was just a terrible, terrible start. And that's what I fear might cost us. So basically what happened is we went from a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, added an extra man into the defence, got players like Bobby De Cordova-Reid playing right wing back, who's actually a striker or a winger. And then he helps out in defence. And overall, as a unit, we just look superb. I mean, even the other night against Spurs, they scored a very, very good goal. But apart from that, we were pretty defensively sound. And I genuinely go into games now feeling like we might just keep clean sheets because we look that solid. The shape is completely on point for the whole 90 minutes. And it fills me with confidence, which is fantastic to see, really.
No, truly, because I actually watched the highlights of that match against Spurs, and not only defensively you're strong, it's in the counter that you're looking even better. That shape allows you to counter so quickly. That caught out Spurs quite a few times, which is, I'm sure we're going to talk about. Younes, my man, contrary to what sort of Fulham has been going through, I want to give you some stats now, right? In our first 16 matches, we conceded 12 goals. In our next 10 match, so less than 16, obviously, we've conceded 14. So we've gone from 12 goals in 16 matches to 14 goals in 10 matches, all sort of throughout that December period. I thought our defensive issues were gone. I thought, we were getting better. What's going on, my man?
Yeah, we all thought that, didn't we? It's just instability at the moment, isn't it? We've spoken about what's going on with us numerous times. Whether there's a lack of in-game management, whether there's issues in our midfield, whether there's a formation change that's needed, whether Frank Lampard doesn't do enough during a game, we got multiple reasons to think why things may be going a bit wrong. Right now, we got to be honest. We need to be clinical. We've got everyone back now. There's no excuse. Before we had at least a couple of reasons as to maybe why things were going a little bit pear-shaped, with the lack of players in terms of having everyone that you want in order to fulfill the system that Lamps wants to play. Now we've got Ziyech back. We don't need to play Werner on the wing. We've got Pulisic back at full fitness. We've got Hudson-Odoi who's been playing really well. Like, we've got options now, which is good. So now there's really no excuse. Before there was lack of training, games after game after game. It's all quite compressed with the lack of players that you really want in order to play the way you want to. So now I guess there's literally no reason why we can't do what we want to do. And then going into the Fulham game, the circumstances that they've been in, which we discussed yesterday, the circumstances they've been in, and we've had 2 weeks off, except for the Morecambe game where we managed to rotate heavy. We've had time to train. Now, if training was an excuse, we've had time to train now. And Frank Lampard has admitted that. He's come out in the press conference and said, we've had time to work on things that we really didn't have time to work on before. So now there's literally like, we got to get this job done. If we drop points tomorrow against Fulham, and albeit Fulham have been doing really, really well, and as Jack's just said, with the way that they've transformed things around, we got to be cautious of that. But if we drop points, it's not going to look good on us at all. So, why the dip in form? Well, hopefully that ends now, as we've got no excuse.
Yeah, no, 100% understand what you're saying in regards to we've got all our ingredients back. I want to go to you, Mattise, straight away off the back of that. Not only defensively, we looked a bit sloppy, as Younes has been talking about. We've got some of that, most of everything pretty much back. And you've been sort of saying as well that we've had that 2 weeks sort of not many. Well, there was only the one match, Morecambe, and that was just this bit of a training session, to be honest. Our goals have dried up as well. Not only defensively, we've been leaking goals. Offensively, we haven't been smashing goals either. So, how do you sort of see this match? That now that Frank, as Younes has said, Frank's pretty much said in the press conference that we've sat down. Everyone sort of sat down. We've sort of talked about how we want to play. How do you sort of picture us now moving into this match that goals have got to come up good as well?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the goal situation is that we just are not playing, first of all, our strongest players in their best positions. You look at Werner playing out wide, you look at Pulisic playing on the right, you look at Hudson-Odoi not even playing half the time, you look at, informed strikers not playing as well because we're trying to shoehorn Timo into the team. And there's no surprise for me why we don't score. You look at us crossing a lot, heavily crossing, and not having players in the box, or not having the right players in the box. So it's no surprise to me that we can't score if we do all of those. If there's quite a good checklist there of things not to do if you want goals in your team. You know what I mean? It's fantastic. I mean, if we don't beat Fulham, it's because we don't have Kante and we don't have Declan Rice, as far as I'm concerned. No, I'm joking.
Simpsons FC. Here we go.
We will always find a reason as to why we can't win. If we can't win this game, it's because Fulham. Well, they took points off Tottenham and Southampton. I mean, Matt, when you have a team coming up against you that have had the amount of cases Fulham have had, the second game this week, no training,
10 players.
Lack of training, recovery, all the things that we've been saying for ourselves. Now that's on them.
But they've had it more extreme as well. Let's be honest. They've had it much more extreme.
We've had one COVID case, but Chelsea fans and will make you feel like we've had the whole damn squad out. Do you know what I mean? It's been one player. One player. Yeah. Some teams have been hit by 10. Multiple players. So
and Mattise, we've got depth. We've got depth,
and we've got the best depth in the league. So there is absolutely no reason as to why we shouldn't win this game. I say all of this stuff tongue in cheek, but I mean, when we check off that many things off the list, then for me, it's no surprise that we don't get goals. I hope Kai Havertz starts, and I hope he starts in the 8. But I hope he himself gets into the box and has a given license to get into the box. With Billy hopefully starting or Jorginho, whoever starts in that role, he should receive the ball in those central areas. It shouldn't just go out wide. They need to have vertical passes straight into him. They need to be direct, and they need to be brave on the ball now. This is not a time to be a bunch of bloody dickheads. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? This is really now squeaky bum time. They need to get the ball and fizz it into the half spaces now, and Havertz needs to take up that space. Ziyech needs to play. Hudson-Odoi definitely needs to play. If he's not in that starting 11 and we don't win, Roman can do what he wants. As far as I'm serious. Like if he's not in that starting 11 and we don't win, Roman can do whatever the hell he wants. And I won't even feel sympathy at that point, because at that point you're just asking for it. You're just asking
absolutely.
for it. There's no one can save you at that point, because you've refused then to play our most informed attacker. You've dropped points against a team that you can't drop points to if you're serious about top 4. So if Roman pulls the trigger, I mean, a lot of people have said that he won't if we don't win the game, because we've got Leicester in a couple of days' time who's going to take charge. So he would have the 2 games, whatever. But do you know what I mean? If he makes critical mistakes in that starting 11 and continues to pick off price tag and not form, and then we don't win, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Honestly,
that's it. Do you know what I mean? That's going to be on him. It's going to be
honestly,
on him.
Callum Hudson-Odoi not starting this match could not. I mean, he's had some slaps so far this season from Frank Lampard in few occasions, but this particular one, I feel if he doesn't start now, and let's say Pulisic or whoever else starts, I think I don't know, man. I mean, that would be so down on Callum Hudson-Odoi. But Jack, let's move on to the whole Fulham side of things again. Let's build up to this particular match. As we were saying just before we started, once again, that this is quite a big match for you guys. And I want to talk about the importance of this particular match from your perspective and from the Fulham fans' perspective as well. 2 points away from getting away from the relegation zone. I believe you guys are on 12 points. Brighton's on 14. So a win here gets you guys out of that relegation spot. And plus, West London derby. I mean, it can't get any bigger, right?
Yeah, I think West London derby, obviously with no fans, is a bit like, okay, whatever. I don't think that Fulham versus Chelsea is a massive rivalry that everyone thinks it is. I remember going to Stamford Bridge a couple of seasons ago when we lost 2-0 and Ruben Loftus-Cheek actually scored against us. Yeah, it was a bit of a derby atmosphere, but nothing really kicked off or anything. Or the game back at the Cottage, again, 2-1, we were already down at that point. So, but in terms of this game, I think fans were slightly more annoyed that the Spurs game was on the Wednesday, because we had all this time to prepare for this game, and then suddenly the Spurs game gets thrown in, and suddenly the preparation is out the window. We're in a tight spot because we've just had players come back from COVID who trained like a couple of days, maybe even one session, played against Spurs, did a real good job over Tottenham. Now we go into a game against Chelsea, who I feel like Chelsea are quite vulnerable at times this season. I think Man City, albeit they are.
This is crazy. The rivals actually feel that way about us. Like it honestly just gives me goosebumps.
This is going to be good insight. This is going to be good.
I just feel as though that I just don't think Chelsea have been that good this season. All this hype about Lampard and the players, and they brought in these players and just haven't really performed up to the scratch. I remember the game against Leeds United, where you went 1-0 down, and then you put in a decent performance and won 4-1, albeit against the Leeds team who love to press and open.
Yeah.
There's loads of space to run into, basically. But in terms of this Fulham team, I think the organisation, from our point of view, I feel like we can shut out Chelsea, and I will take a point all day long. And I just feel as though if we can frustrate Chelsea, keep our shape, hit you on the counter attack with Ademola Lookman, I think we can hurt you in places.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. Just quickly, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is going to be a bit of a miss for you guys, yeah, in this particular match?
No, maybe. I don't think. I think he's been this year's scapegoat. I think he's come in. He was in the World Cup 2018 squad. He's got a lot of pedigree. He's got a lot of potential, but he's come in and he just hasn't looked quite at it. And I think the night before against Spurs was the first game where I thought, okay, this guy's got a little bit about him. And I knew he had talent coming into the team, but a lot of the fans have not shone to him in the way that I thought. But I think this could be a turning point for him. I think that this is a great run of fixtures that he can get into the team, because Kearney and Lamina are both out. He can't play tomorrow, that's fine. But I'm not sure about Ruben Loftus-Cheek. A lot of people were saying, let's send him back to Chelsea and try and get a striker in on loan, because we don't have any loan places left and we need a striker. But I feel like we need that extra man in midfield because we're quite light at the moment because of the injuries. Loftus-Cheek, he's got good assets. He's strong on the ball. He can run with the ball. But I just think his final product is just a bit. And I just don't think that because he's on loan, he's not going to give. He'll give 100%, but he won't give that extra 10% you need, because he's at a club from a club. So I'm torn over him. I slightly grew on him after the other night against Spurs, but
he played pretty good against Spurs. Like the counter attack, the hold up. Good.
He was key in the counter because he was the one driving us forward. Because Anguissa was staying a little bit more defensive. But I genuinely think that Ruben Loftus-Cheek needs to up his game a little bit more.
Fair enough. No, fair point. Younes, we've heard a little bit about, from Fulham side of things, how important this game is. Let me paint a picture for you how important this could be for us. We're sitting on 9th, as you know.
Yeah.
Two other teams, I believe it's Aston Villa and West Ham, are in the same points as us, 26 points. I think Aston Villa's got a couple of games on hand as well. And Arsenal's only 2 points away from catching up on us. And we're about 6 points, I believe, off top 4. So we've stalled. Our progress this season has stalled massively. Like we were at one point title contenders, and now it's like, forget about title contendership. Just focus on, we've said it in Matisse's channel yesterday that we have downgraded our expectation to just get top 4, just somehow squeeze the top 4. So how important is this, man, in the whole context of things, that if we don't get a positive result, and by a positive result, I mean, as Jack was saying, they'll take a draw here every day of the week. For us, a win is so important just for the whole sake of the top 4 race.
Yeah, big time. And I think it's added a little bit more importance to this fixture alone. If we didn't have Leicester immediately after, and then Wolves, Tottenham, then this game in itself, would be one where you take it, I'd say, not really lightly, but you would take it as less important. But because of the run-up that we have and the games that we are, not certain to win, this all of a sudden has more importance, because if we don't beat Fulham, we go into the Leicester game, and there's, a chance that we might not even we might not win, we might not even draw. Leicester are top team. Wolves, Spurs afterwards, those will be difficult games. So if we don't get 3 points against Fulham, and albeit it's not going to be easy because of the way that Fulham have transformed themselves, it's not going to look good on us at all. And with the situation we're in at the moment, just not beating Fulham, we could end up in 11th. There could be a point where if we bottle it against Leicester and Arsenal win, they go above us. This is why it's become super important. As Jack was saying, Fulham Chelsea it's a West London derby, but it's never really been that one to ignite something huge. It's not a buzzing fixture, albeit the history is there and little rivalry because we're just down the road from each other. But that's pretty much it. But now with what's added on, it's really, really important. We have to win. As far as we're concerned, we have to win tomorrow. There's no ifs or buts. If we draw, for us, it's not a good result, even though in itself, Fulham, as I've said, are playing really, really well. And if you take the fixture just on its own, a draw might not actually be a bad result against a Fulham team doing really well. Yeah. But in the context of everything, we can't afford a draw. We have to win. We have to win.
No, I 100% agree as well. Mattise, we've now painted the fact that it's very, very important for Fulham. You know, they could possibly get out of relegation zone, which is mighty, mighty important for them. Younes has sort of painted the picture that for the top 4 race, the kind of form that we're on, this is super, super important. What I want to ask you is, Frank Lampard, in this situation, Mattise, generally the big games, consistency. When we talk about consistently winning the big games, let's face it, Frank Lampard has not done that. He's not won the big ones consistently. You know, we've been in the FA Cup final. We've had to face Liverpool in last season, where we could have solidified our top 4 position by beating them, but then we got whooped by them. And there have been a few other matches as well. Yeah, sure, he's won other matches too, but the consistency. What I want to know from you is, I mean, these are the games that you want to start seeing Frank Lampard win on a consistent basis. So for you to start saying that this man deserves a long-term, reign, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Lampard is that he's, again, I think he has the potential to do great things in management, but he's not at a club. And a lot of people keep saying we've got all the time in the world. We just don't, You've got as much time as your performances and your results allow you to have. That's always the way it's going to be, and that's how it's got to be. Do you know what I mean? We can't, in a 3-year project, you can't just do whatever in the second year and it just fly. Like, we can't finish 15th and well, it's Frank Lampard, isn't it? Yeah,
it's just the process.
It's Frank Lampard, so who cares? Do you know what I mean? And a lot of people say, "Oh, well, you're being dramatic." Well, yeah, of course I'm being dramatic, because we're in this is a pretty dramatic run. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is that a lot of people say we're not far off, and I keep saying to people as well, we're not far off. But the whole point of not being far off top 4 and that it's not out of reach is the fact that we now need to start winning games. That's the whole point of that, is that we're not far off if we start winning right now. If we don't start winning right now, we will be very far off in the next month, and then someone's going to pull the trigger. So, do you know what I mean? Like, it's all well and good saying that it's a difficult season. It's all well and good saying it's not a normal season. It's all well and good saying there's not many points separating teams in the league. That can only fly if you actually pick up points. If you don't pick up points, then eventually at some point that's not gonna that little reasoning is not gonna run anymore, because you're gonna be way too far off for it to be deemed as acceptable. So we need to win this game so badly it's not even funny, because as Younes said, the next run of fixtures, no Chelsea fan can be confident going into Leicester. No, it's not possible.
And then Wolves after.
Not even if you've been watching us for the last few weeks, it's not possible, because either that or you haven't been watching Leicester this season. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It will be one or the other. So the fact that I can't even predict a win for us against Leicester just goes to show how important this game is, because at some point I still do believe that the bigger teams in this league will get their act together, and they will start to pull away, and they will start to play and perform to their normal positions in the league. We've seen a lot of mess so far. We've seen a lot of teams not where they should be. We've seen a lot of freak results. I do believe as the season goes on that things will start to level itself out a bit more. There'll still be wild results, but I don't expect this to go on all season, what we've seen.
No.
So in saying that means for me, we need to start picking up points right now, because we've seen Man United. I can see a lot more shithousery in other teams than I can at ours. I've seen, apart from Arsenal, I've seen other teams not warrant to win games recently, but still win them. And I'm not seeing that with us. I'm seeing if we don't play to our maximum, we're getting beat. That's what it looks like right now. Yeah. So, we need to establish some sort of, bounce back ability in the squad. Don't know where that's gone, because it was there at the start of the season. And we need to hurry up, because, like you said, it's only, what is it, 3rd of February we play Tottenham away?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on. That's top 4 contenders. You talk about the teams that can make top 4. Liverpool, you'd assume get it. Man United at this point, you'd assume get it. Man City probably will get it.
Leicester's definitely Leicester's in it too.
If I'm being honest, there's probably one place left, right? And it's between Leicester, Tottenham, Southampton, and Everton, and hopefully us. So that's a lot of teams to get through. Do you know what I mean? So we really need to get our crap together immediately, because this ain't no easy top 4 race at all. It's never been like that.
Nah, 100%, man. There was a really good comment off the back of one of my tweets a couple of days ago where someone said to me, we have to hope that we are on another 17 unbeaten run. And then we have to hope 5 or 6 of the other teams have also a 17 match, poor streak, and their experienced managers screw up. So it's like, it's a two-way street now. It's not just us doing well. We have to hope that others are doing poorly for a prolonged period of time. And that's like asking for a miracle now. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're really asking for too much at the moment. But let's move on and keep building up to this game. Jack, tell us a little bit about Scott Parker, man. I mean, how are the fans feeling about Scott Parker? Obviously, in the initial parts of the season, you guys were really taken to the cleaners, but things have sort of changed, a different formation, a little bit more grit. And also when I see Scott Parker in post-match interviews, the man seems so determined, so much desire. I mean, how are the fans kind of taking on to him? Do they sort of want to be patient with him? And also, do they see him as a long-term project?
Yeah, 100%. It's funny because back in last season, let's start from the beginning. He took over from Ranieri. We're basically down. He got a few decent results, galvanized the squad. We went down and we thought, right, Scott Parker, inexperienced manager, but what can he do with a very, very talented group of players in the Championship? And he just about scraped us over the line. I don't think we were mesmerizing last season. I thought the pandemic in itself was the reason we went up. I thought the form we were on going into the COVID break was not promotion worthy. And then we come back from the break, a couple of games we lost, and then we started to see a new style, a new grittiness to our play. We got through to the Premier League through the playoffs against the Brentford team, who had the best front three in the Championship, and that was the turning point for me, because in that game against Brentford, we saw a game which we could get exposed massively here, and we played this system. We played our usual 4-3-3, but there was something different about us. We stopped them playing, and then we scored.
Especially Benrahma. I remember you guys stopped Benrahma big time in that playoff.
Benrahma and Buemo and Ollie Watkins. You can see what Ollie Watkins is now doing for Aston Villa. Like, these are 3 players who could really hurt us, and we just completely stopped them from playing. And we got that the free kick, which was a masterstroke. And then we finished off the game. It was quite remarkable how we got up. I didn't quite expect it. And now we're in a position where we start the season terribly, and nobody blamed Parker. It was all about the board. Didn't recruit in time. Didn't get the players ready, the team ready. And now we're starting to see, and I'm starting to fall in love with Scott Parker. I have over the last few weeks. This is a guy who's. It's very visible that he was upset with a lot of things that were going on in the club, and he himself has turned it around with the system, with the galvanization of the squad, believing in them, and it's got to a stage now where I genuinely, and I said this yesterday on our video, he is a long-term project. He's someone who I think can, and if we stay up this season, like, he can go places. And I said that if he stays up this season and we progress, I can genuinely see him managing England one day. And I know that's a big statement. It's just because of his mindset, the way he plays, the way he treats players, his man management. It's perfect. It's honestly, he's the perfect man for the job. When all this stuff came out about the COVID and the rearranged game and all these VAR situations, he deals with the media fantastically. He's not one to where he does complain, but in a way that's respectful. He's a classy man. He doesn't fly off the handle. He understands the noise. He always says the noise around the club, people saying Fulham are already down. Like, he understands, and he galvanizes the squad, and he tells them, look, this is not something you should be focusing on. Just focus on your football. And honestly, I couldn't speak more highly of him. I genuinely think he is the perfect man for the job right now, and vastly quickly becoming one of my favourite managers that I've seen in my lifetime, apart from maybe Roy Hodgson.
Wow, that's massive, man. I mean, I've only started seeing Fulham this season, probably in the last few weeks, and honestly, I've been quite impressed by, as I said, him post-match interview and whatnot. And what I want to ask you just quickly, tactically, how do you think about Scott Parker? I mean, you guys, from a fan base point of view, do you really think that he's got a very good know-how in terms of tactically, in-game management and just the way he sort of organizes everything within the game? Like, you guys happy with that?
Well, you have to be, because we were a bit of a mess at the start of the season, and then suddenly he's completely turned it around with a new system. We brought in Tosin Adarabioyo and Anderson and Aina, who are now playing. Aina was playing right back, and then because Kenny Tete's come back from injury, we're now into this 5. Well, we were in a 5 at the back, but now we're playing a really 5 at the back where everyone's playing in their right positions.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think it works. I think if you can either play a 5-3-2 or a 5-2-3, where you have one box to box, one holding, one creative. I generally feel like he's got the tactical nous. I mean, he's been around the block. He's played for Spurs and West Ham and Fulham.
Yeah.
And I generally feel like he did his FA coaching badges while he was still a player. He was then at the under-18s at Spurs under Pochettino, who was at the club at the same time. I generally feel like he's learned a lot. And he was very naive when he first came to Fulham. Made a lot of errors, made a lot of mistakes, substitutions, team selection. But now we're starting to say, I fully trust him now. He's earned my trust. I really did badger him last season and went, look, this guy, he's not going to get us up. But he proved me wrong. And now I'm on the completely other side with Scott Parker. And generally, like I said, falling in love with him. And what's so exciting is he's so young and he's so inexperienced in the job that in 2, 3, 4 years' time, I mean, he could go places. Like I just said, I genuinely am worried that West Ham, who I see a lot of talk on Twitter, we should get Parker. Parker's the next manager. When Moyes goes, well, no, you don't have a God-given right to get Parker. He's our but he's signing a new contract in the summer. I don't see why. I feel frustrated about West Ham because they feel like they have this right to have him. You don't have any right to have him. You have David Moyes. You're doing fine at the moment. I don't know why you sold Heller. That's another issue anyway. Very strange. Yeah. But I just feel like Scott Parker is growing as a manager. He's respected in the media. I wouldn't say he's a media darling as such, but he's respected. He's well spoken, and he impresses the hell out of me, honestly, and the fans. Everyone loves him.
Nah, man. I mean, we've got a manager who's very good in the media as well. So we're a competition there. You're not winning that race, that's for sure. Younes, I want to talk to you about. Let's get a little bit deeper on this particular match. Our midfield, man. Kante suspended.
Yeah. And
knowing Fulham's midfield in the likes of Anguissa, who's Jack sort of mentioned as well, they've got a couple of other really strong powerhouse midfielders. And the way they sort of set up, 5 at the back, 3 in the middle, 2 up front, they're always in the prowl to look for a counter. I'm just worried, and I want to get your thoughts on this, that without Kante, who hasn't been the greatest in the last few games anyway, I mean, 1, how do you set up your midfield? And 2, any sort of off passes in that midfield, which we've seen from our team previously or in recent times, how important is it to ensure that in transition, especially in counters, that we are alert?
It's crucial because we've had many games recently where the big problem has lied in our centre mids. It's as simple as that. And Kante to get exposed isn't easy. It's not an easy thing to do. Yeah. Kante, we know, is world class. Everything he does, it's amazing, and it's really good when he has a support next to him because it reassures him in order to do what he does best. But I feel lately he's just been given so much responsibility, and the mistakes that he's made just hasn't helped because there's no one else to clean up. Our midfield has always been left exposed. We saw it, as I said previously, we saw it against Arsenal, we saw it against Villa, we saw it against City, especially against City. Where we just gave them a red carpet. with a knife and fork buffet. Here you are, free pass, go for it. And you know, Kante just, I felt like, didn't have the support, as well as making the mistakes that he made. It just didn't help. Now he's suspended. It makes me worried at the same time, because when you look at our midfielders and who we have available, you look at Kante and he's the most able one. He is the best midfielder, I say, we have at the club. But he needs that defensive, you know, assistance. And now he's not going to be selected. He's not there. I feel like with a Billy Gilmore, for example, we might be able to pass the ball quicker. I think offensively, it's not going to affect us much. I think offensively, we might actually have an upper hand. But defensively, I really don't know. I really don't know. As we've discussed, if we're relying on the Billy Gilmore, who's like, what, 4'4", you know, he's a tiny man. You know, this is why I was suggesting maybe we need to put someone like Kovacic next to him to protect him. But at the same time, we know Kovacic hasn't really been, you know, defensively secure. Neither has Jorginho. Neither has Havertz. Neither has Mount. It's just, whatever we go with, we know that we are susceptible to issues in midfield. And we know that Fulham are going to probably stack out that midfield just like other teams before them have. So, yeah, I think there's two options. There's two options. I think we go all out attack and just try and put all the pressure on Fulham.
Throw the kitchen sink.
Throw the kitchen sink at them and not give them any room to breathe. Because if they do and we get caught out on a transition, we could be in trouble. Or we need to be defensively aware and try and, you know, balance things out in terms of sitting when we have to, and then just send certain individual players to go up and protect ourselves. I don't see any other way. And, you know, Fulham are going to be dangerous. That's the one area of the pitch where I'm worried most. It's the midfield. I feel like Fulham can exploit us. And to be honest, right now, anyone with a good midfield can.
No, honestly, as I said, I spent a bit of time looking at that Spurs game and even the Liverpool one. That three in the midfield, the way they sort of set up with the 5 and the 3, that 3 are looking for interceptions all the time. And I'm just worried that, you know, because we do go for that Hollywood pass here and there. And you know, if anything sort of gets caught out, that we better be ready. Mattise, my man, Fulham with their 5 at the back are very compact, my man. They are so solid. They stay very narrow as well. They don't just spread out, and they keep their shape. What I want to ask you is, firstly, who is the striker that you're going with to combat that, knowing that there's possibly 3 centre backs that are going to be, you know, occupying our striker, and also how do you break that down? Because we Sheffield United last season, as you remember, their 5 at the back absolutely annihilated us. Like, how do we combat this? Because we kind of talked about this in your channel yesterday, that when we come across these sort of 5-3-2 formation style of teams, it gets quite nasty at times.
I mean, the first way that you need to combat that is, first of all, by passing the midfield, which is obviously, you know, what you just spoke about. If we can't get past them, then we're not even gonna get to the situation with the back 5, because, like you said, interceptions, you know, they're going to be looking for lost causes. And if we can't, like I said, if we can't have the bravery to play those dangerous passes that you're talking about in between the lines to have us, then we're not going to even disturb and disrupt their shape in the first place. You talk about their shape being very narrow. Really, when you have a back 5, the only way to move shape really is to go wide, which is what we're very good at anyway. We go wide all the time. But it is very important that we switch it quickly. And I think potentially an opportunity where, you know, you do look at, can you move their shape by, you know, doubling up on the right-hand side? I wouldn't say Ziyech would double up on the left. So I'd say maybe Hudson-Odoi ends up moving to the right as well. You create an overload with Reece James, then you switch the play quickly to Chilwell. Can you make that ball that we talk about that Ziyech makes so often in behind that defense for runners on the left-hand side, whether that be Chilwell or whoever? Can you disrupt them in that way? For me, Giroud has to play, or Tammy, but I'd go with Giroud because I see a lot of tight spaces. I see a lot of congestion. I see a lot of suffocation. And when I see all of those things, I think we need a striker who first touch, link up play. There's just nothing going on there. There's nothing funky going on, and it's just going to be on point. I know Tammy's improved. Tammy's definitely improved in that regard, and he'd be my first sub on, one of my first subs on. But I think Giroud, for what we're looking for, it's going to be a game where penalty box is important. And I think there's going to be crosses and physicality. You mentioned 3 centre-backs. I just think we need to have... We're going to cross. So the guy who can header and get near post flick-ons and has the experience to handle really any ball into the box needs to be playing. You know, technically, he's probably the most astute. So he has to play. And I think Kai Havertz is absolutely crucial. Absolutely crucial.
I'm starting to think he's going to be big in this match, Kai Havertz. Like,
he's huge.
All the focus will be Giroud, but Kai has to come in here.
He's absolutely huge because he's not only that person that can get into the box and give you that second number that I'm talking about, where we put the ball in the box, there's not really many numbers or it's the wrong people in there. He's not only dangerous in the fact that he can be that person, get his head on the ball, knockdowns, and just continue the attack, really. It's not even just to score, it's just to keep the attack alive at some points. But also, again, he's that guy that I'm wanting to get in between the lines. I want Mount to be a bit deeper because of those transitions that Younes is talking about. I think Gilmour, like I said, that midfield, we tried to pick our midfield yesterday and we weren't really convinced with any of our midfields. And we talk about Kante needing support. Usually Kante is that support. And it's a real DM, like, let's be real, a real lone DM there. It's a Mattise, do you know what I mean? And Kante offers the support. So Kante is that guy, but he's just, for me now, become the deepest guy. So that's also interesting. So our midfield, I'm very worried about. I think we're going to go out wide a lot, but I'm hoping Gilmour does, this is a huge game for Gilmour as well, because he is the epicenter of the team. He's probably going to have the most touches. He's probably going to be the difference between if we have any sort of direct passing or we don't. He's the person most capable of fizzing the ball, vertically or going out wide. So it's up to how brave he is. He's the one that's going to probably organize the team in possession as well at times, even though he's only 19, I believe. So him, Kai, huge responsibility on that pitch, huge. And Kai has to step up. He has to be, I've been calling for Kai to come back into the team. But the reason why Kai was out of the team is not only because he hasn't adapted, but also because he wasn't playing well before he was dropped. He was making poor passes, basic passes were going out of play, going astray or too short. He was getting bodied off the ball too easily. He's got to, in this second half of the season, because that is when he is strongest on record, he's got to be he needs to be a bit more physically imposing and shield the ball and just stand up tall now. Do you know what I mean? Like, this ain't no joke. This is a serious time now. You need to be that guy for us. So big game for those two, man. Huge game. And Giroud, for me, should start. But if he starts Tammy, I'm not going to have a problem either, because I think Tammy makes great runs. He moves teams about as well. He doesn't just, he's very mobile and he'll stretch teams. So either or deserve it, to be fair.
I imagine Frank starts Werner. I can just imagine what Mattise is going to tweet. Moving on to the final sort of rounds of question. How's the overall vibe? I suppose how confident are you guys in this particular match? The overall vibe from the fans, and finally your lineup that you're going to sort of set up for this particular match against us, and sort of point out your key players for this particular match as well, so that us fans from Chelsea we know who to look out for. Well,
starting with the lineup, I'd go. See, me and my friend were discussing yesterday whether we go 5-2-3 or 5-3-2. I would assume that what we do is we stick with the same back five. So Areola in goal at the back, Tete, Aina, Anderson, Adrabayo, Robinson. And then in the midfield, I'd have Harrison Reed holding, Anguissa box to box, and then floating about is Bobby Deacled over Reed. And then up front, Cavallero and Lookman. Whether the only change I'd make to that is if the three up front, it'd be Reed wide, Cavallero wide, Lookman down the middle. Key players to look out for. Well, Anguissa up against Billy Gilmour. That's something I'm looking forward to.
That's a matchup and a half. I'm sure Billy's up for that.
If you watch Anguissa, he's powerful on the ball. He's one of the most successful dribblers in the Premier League this season, in like the bottom 14 or something. He's just so strong. He's got a good pass. I feel like sometimes he's a bit lazy. He's not quite in tune with everyone else, but he's got the quality. I genuinely love that guy so much. It'll be interesting to see how much our fullbacks bomb forward. We love to,
especially that Robertson. Robertson is
Yeah.
Something to
Robinson
look
down
forward
the left,
Yeah.
he gets forward, and then sometimes he does get exposed on the counter. I know if we bomb 2 players forward and lose the ball in transition, then we've got problems. But I trust that Robinson, who had a bad game against Spurs, I think he'll up his game, and I think obviously I think we will bomb forward with our fullback. I just don't know in terms of where we'll go both our fullbacks at the same time, or one will stay back and then create a 4. Harrison Reed, very good at interceptions, like you said. I think we're going to miss Lamina because Lamina was so good at just intercepting everything against Liverpool. But Reed has really done a job in the last few weeks, and he's massively improving. And then of course Ademola Lookman, who once you
for me
you get
that
him,
guy's the number 1 player for you guys. For me, that guy scares me.
if you give him time and space, he will run into those spaces and put decent balls in the box like we saw on Wednesday night. Also, he just loves to just like weave in and out of a couple of players and take shots on as well. I don't think we'll see Mitrovic. I think he's back in training, but I don't think he's ready after picking up a slight injury against QPR. In terms of how the fan base is feeling, I feel like I said earlier, we would be more confident if we didn't have that game in midweek. But the fans are really up for this because we genuinely feel like for the first time in I don't know how long it has been since we beat Chelsea. I feel like we might be able to get a nice 3 points here.
3 points.
Whoa!
Calm down.
Is this how far we've fallen?
This is what it's come to.
Taking 3 points from us and walking off into the sunset.
Well, no, this is what the fan base are feeling. We're feeling as if Chelsea are quite vulnerable at the moment, and Fulham are due a win with our performances. We've drawn 5 in a row and should have won at least a couple of those games. And I generally feel like a win is coming. Our next 2 games are Chelsea and Manchester United. But what I will say is that I feel like we play better away from home than we do at home. I think our pitch is too narrow. We're better on an expansive pitch with the system we play. You saw that against Spurs. I saw that against Newcastle as well. I'm still torn. I don't really know how this is going to go. I think it'll be a low-scoring game, like it has been with Fulham recently.
Yeah.
But if we can nick a goal early, keep our shape, stay organised, limit Chelsea to chances, I feel like maybe we could scrape it. You never know.
I think that's when Roman's calling Frank at halftime. That
well, all our fans are like, if we can get a win to get Frank Lampard sacked, it would be one of the best things to ever happen.
Yeah, that would.
Oh my God!
Especially with a manager that started at the same time, pretty much.
Oh yeah, so Scott Parker to expose Frank Lampard as the fraud he might be. Then
okay, calm down now.
I'm getting out of myself.
Younes, man, these guys, they're confident, man. I mean, how you feeling about this, Younes? I
mean, this is we knew this would happen. We discussed it yesterday. We were feeling nervy, and if I put myself in like Jack's shoes right now, I'd be confident. I'd be confident playing against Chelsea because like the blueprint is there. Unless if Frank Lampard changes something or does something drastic, the blueprint is there. Everton done it, Wolves done it, Arsenal done it, Aston Villa kind of did it, Man City definitely did it. Like the blueprint is there, ready to be used. And Scott Parker has managed to do something with Fulham, which is phenomenal. We've been discussing how teams have started off dodgy and gotten better, and there's that progress. And Fulham are one of them. But with us, we've kind of gone backwards. So it's definitely nervy for us, and I can see why Fulham fans would be confident, especially in a fixture like this where they've just got a really good result against Spurs, and they found form. They've done really well against good opposition. Defensively, they're stable. It's just about whether they can get that goal or two. But defensively, I'm sure they're confident, and we know what it's like to be defensively stable and know that no one's getting past.
True.
So let's just hope we score, but we know no one's getting past. It does make you.
And we were talking about this yesterday, Younes, that we're not. We used to be so difficult to beat. We're just not.
Yeah, and now it's it's easy if you know how to figure out our midfield. It's easy, and this is where I'm. My worry, as we've discussed, is where we're going to get exposed in midfield. And if as long as we don't get exposed in midfield, and Frank has done something new, then maybe we'll be all right. But it's going to be with what the game means, it's going to be really interesting, and that's why I think we're a little bit more nervous, and maybe Fulham are a little bit more confident as well.
Nah, man, Mattise, it seems peak, man. I mean, Jack's kind of said Scott Parker looking to expose Frank Lampard. Your thoughts on that?
I'm very nervous. Very nervous.
Don't do this, man.
I'm very nervous because this is exactly the type of game that we struggle with. Narrow pitch, potentially low block, because we discussed that they fitness and recovery wise probably would be smart to reserve their energy until the end of the game, make us, drag us to the end. That's really, I think, what they're going to do. And then they could nick it. Do you know what I mean? And that's they're defensively sound enough to do that. It's not like it's a team that's chucking away goals where they don't trust their defense. They're very balanced right now. They trust their defense. There's no reason, after watching Chelsea against low blocks recently, that go for it. You know what I mean? Like you can sit there. You're at home, narrow pitch, chill, make it compact, and then when you feel like it's your time, then you go for it. And that's what I'm worried about, because I do feel like the longer this game goes on, that we don't get a goal, it's just going to become more and more nervy. And I think, it's funny because I think a lot of people who are trying to pretend to be calm on Twitter, a lot of Chelsea fans who are trying to pretend like, I think we'll probably fine.
Yeah. So many.
So many. You're shitting yourself in your head. Don't lie. You are absolutely petrified of the fact that this game is, this game's not easy. And you're like, you want to pretend like, everybody, they stress, they sweat, and then they wipe their stress, and then they go on the keyboard and they type calmly. I know exactly what's going on. You're not calm. You can't be calm. There's no way you're calm. So, do you know what I mean? Let's see what happens, man, because this game it's going to be an interesting one. I'm not even pumped. I'm just nervous because I'm not going to lie. If this was any other manager, this is one of them fixtures where you look at it, it's like, this could be your last one, bro. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie. This could be your last one. Yeah, we're really panicking over Fulham. Like that really is the situation right now. It's dire. I mean, I went back through my own channel and I looked at the videos that I've made up until this point, and I went, through the winning period that we had, and it was looking. And then there's this game against Everton, against Carlo Ancelotti, a former Chelsea man, and he just set the wheels in motion for this nonsense. And I look at a former Chelsea man in Scott Parker just finishing it off. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's just there you go. That's your time period. One Chelsea man to another. Slap. And that very much worries me. Ole Einar, what worries me? Do you know what I mean? Player coming back, haunting us, doing his business. Thank God Loftus-Cheek can't play.
How do you think Loftus-Cheek is going to feel watching all this and seeing that Fulham's getting one up on Chelsea if they do?
I mean, do you know what? Yeah, Loftus-Cheek, I'm surprised he hasn't done better at Fulham, because he's got a lot to prove, man. Do you know what I mean? Well, he's also got a lot to show up for. Chelsea fans have ride out for him until to the end, in terms of backing his potential and saying that, he's one of the best in midfield.
You and me have massively for Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah, because of what we saw under Sarri. So if he wants any chance of getting back into our midfield, he needs to have a good loan spell, because there's other midfielders out there that will that are out on loan as well, that are vying for his position. So I'm surprised that Fulham fans aren't taking to him so quick. I'm surprised he hasn't just blown their minds, because that's the quality I expect from him. So it's disappointing. Same with Ampadu at Sheffield United, I guess. So, bro, it's with God now. That's all I can say. It's with God.
Oh my days! Mattise just put the smack down there. I just hope it's true though. Like all of and this is a message for you as well, Jack. That a lot of the fan base are sort of feeling and saying that, we should be going to Fulham and really should be pasting them. But deep down, everyone has seen the form that you guys have been going through. Playing against Liverpool, as you said, probably should have even beaten Liverpool. Then you faced Southampton and kept them on a 0-0 draw when we allowed 3 goals against Southampton, and against Spurs as well. You guys have been fantastic. In fact, probably should have won right at the end against Spurs as well, to be honest. There were quite a few chances in the counter where you guys just didn't see your players who were open, and it really would have been lights out for Spurs too. And contrary to that, we've not been in the greatest form. But yeah, we've beaten Morecambe 4-0, so hopefully that could trigger something.
Top result.
Top result. But yeah, let's end this, guys, with some score prediction. Finally, I'll go with you, Jack. Your score prediction for this particular match?
1-1, I think. Maybe Chelsea score and we get back in the game. It could be a very similar game to Spurs where we look like we could then go on and win it. But I don't want to lay my cards out on the table. I've said quite a few things, but this is just me, having a bit of fun. But realistically, if we could just avoid defeat, that'd be great, because then we keep in touch with Brighton and Hove Albion.
Yeah.
So 1-1.
Fair enough. Younes, my man, score prediction.
Yeah, as I said yesterday on Matthise's channel, my head is telling me 1-1. That's the realistic score. My heart's telling me 2-0 Chelsea, but my heart's been wrong many times this season, so we'll stick with my head.
I'm scared, and I know Fulham has been good, but I'm actually thinking hopefully we get a 2-1 win. I'm thinking they're going to score, but I just feel that Ziyech, for me, I don't know why. I've just got this picture in my head that this guy's just going to pull us out through all of this mess single-handedly. I just have so much belief that this player is going to do it, and I just think 2-1 for us. Giroud's going to be instrumental because of Ziyech, and obviously Callum Hudson-Odoi will come into the mix. Mattise, your score prediction?
Yeah, stays the same as yesterday. 2-1 win. If I don't predict a win, then what am I doing? Kind of thing. But I'm nervous. I'm worried. And I'm not even confident that my prediction is even real. Not gonna lie, my prediction is a prediction of hope more than expectation. I can't lie. I mean, it's with God.
I love how Matthias started with a 2-1, and then it's like, you know what? I'm not really feeling it. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming together and doing this match preview. I think we've got a lot out of it. We understand the match a lot better from Fulham side of things as well. To each and every one of you guys that have joined, thank you so much who've sort of come out throughout the stream. Please smash that like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe and hit the bell notification. Just before I go, Jack, some final messages for your Fulham fans and some Chelsea fans as well.
If we win, it will be jokes, and I don't think we'll ever stop you from forgetting about it. What really annoys me this season, being in the Premier League, a few things, but mostly any club tweets, you always get these replies saying like Tin Pot Club, small club, from these like nothing accounts. They really, really annoy me. So it's nice we're getting results over Spurs and Liverpool. So people are like, oh, actually, maybe they're not. Maybe they're all right. But yeah, I've got a few Chelsea mates from uni, so nice. I'll do the preview with later. So they will never hear the end of it if we manage to get the dub.
All of Jack and the Fulhamish information's in the description. Similarly for Mattise and Younes as well. Just before we go as well, Younes, some final words.
It's going to be interesting. We're nervous. I mean, good luck. May the best team win at this point. As Matthias said, it's with God. Simple as that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what goes down. And if we win, great. If we don't, then we will deal with the fallout.
Absolutely. Guys, do watch out for Younes's watch along. I don't think you want to miss this one. This is peak right now. Mattise, my man, some final words.
I'm gonna go and speak to my mom and let her know that I love her, because this weekend's gonna go. It's gonna be wild. I can't lie. I can't promise the neighbours that it's gonna be quiet or it's gonna be a safe place of haven this weekend. I can't promise that I'm not gonna upload a picture of me depressed on Twitter if we don't win the game. I can't promise that my live stream afterwards won't be some sort of violence. I can't promise. I will not make promises that I can't keep, gentlemen. So with that being said, yes, may the best team win and may the best club win, because I swear there will be repercussions if we don't win.
All of Mattias's information for his channel is going to be in the description. Similarly for Jack, they've done a preview as well. I'll have that in, and obviously we were in Younes's channel. I'll have that into the description as well, so you can see the trilogy, how it's been building up throughout this particular preview. So guys, until next time, everyone, take care and see you later.